Take yo.
This whole time my mic was muted. Oh my
I need
god.
shotgun ammo.
¿Vos RC qué pasó?
Oh my goodness.
Están alegando por el ruido.
Thank you, Edward.
Algo así.
Jeez
Ew.
Louise. Such a bot, man.
Do you guys have shotgun ammo?
We need a respawn band.
Yeah.
Qué malo por
Thank you.
Vos, Randy, te estoy intentando buscar una escopeta para cuando revivas, pero...
I have
¿Qué
no
no?
idea what he's saying.
Ah, no, la del pan. Malísimo. ¿Por qué no me vas a,
¿Mm?
no me vas a revivir?
John, I need your
Eso estoy
translation.
haciendo. ¿Dónde hay una cosa cerca? Ah,
He's trying to find a van.
me olvidó que había podido ver eso.
Turn. Point and shoot. Okay, going too far, boys. Meet you in the holla.
¿Qué más que me mate por ir ahí?
Sorry, my mic was muted. But yes, I will invite you after. Terrapin's on too, so we have a winning squad.
Construir es para maricas, ¿no?
Ese tipo, el que mató, ¿no? Hablaron, cabrón.
Tener esta cosa si querés, Ron. Te voy a dejar el glider y tenés que ir a lootear el autobús. El autobús de la parte.
Decirles de mi parte que son novatos.
RSSI you all are pros. Mi inglés anda fino hoy, mano.
What'd you say about my border? I'm just
¿Sabes
kidding.
qué necesito? Duolingo.
Pues vámonos aquí en este.
¿Cómo vas a ir a lootear al barco?
No, vámonos.
Tío,
Vos dijiste que querías llegar a top.
You guys are
Tío.
far.
Turn and shoot.
¿La pego, vení?
Boom, baby.
Ah, ya.
Can't do any better than that. Hola, amigos. Yo soy aquí.
¿Qué onda?
Meu Deus, manito.
Turn. I have no idea where I'm going. Where are we
Same.
going?
¿Dónde
know
vas,
what?
amigos?
I'm going south.
People.
Tipo, gente, ¿dónde?
Acá, ya marqué.
Wherever south is.
Okay, he's got people. People.
Gotta grab those guys. Right?
Creo que nos están diciendo maldito latino.
Oh, there. On top of Dusty too.
Uf, Randy.
Arriba. Oh no. Estás abajo. Gente.
Te pegué una.
You cleared him.
Te pegué, mano. Le pegué una lapa. Qué buenísimo soy. No me la robé.
Way on the other side. Never. Oh, sorry, those are mine.
Are they all gone?
¿Dónde tenés? ¿Vos
Was that
50?
all?
Yeah, I was only one guy, I think.
I hear someone glide again.
I don't see anybody.
Mano, le pegué como de no sé de qué distancia una lapa, pero fallé todos los tiros después.
They have a shotgun. I would like a shotgun.
Vos, dame, Aníbal, dame balas de.
Yeah.
Sub-
Wow.
Tenés. Ya ni lo voy a llevar.
Oh, kids on me. Yep, there's multiple
Oh.
kids.
¿Qué
Way
cosa
up
más
there.
de verdad? No, man.
Arriba.
Okay.
Maestro.
Sí.
Hey,
Okay, this
heavy,
is so
heavy
fun.
bullets. Heavy bullets, please.
Big
There's nine
bullets.
slingers as well.
Ajá.
Man.
One's no shield. Yeah, that kid right there. Oh, he's more shields again, somehow.
Guy behind us.
Yeah. Okay.
De espaldas, qué cerdo. Oh, Randy, nos rodearon.
Aquí tenía otro.
Martín, nos rodearon.
One more left.
Oh my dude, I'm lagging. My frames keep dropping.
Vámonos.
20, dude. Every time I get into a fight.
Okay. Do-do-do. Oh. Oh, he's on. Up.
I can't see him. He's like not on my screen, dude.
So you have two computers, one at your dad's house and one at yours?
Mm-hmm.
You're blessed.
But they're both bad. That's the thing.
No. Man, I'm tired. Tired. And I'm doing nothing.
What?
Yeah, Tilted, you guys are pros.
I'm bot.
You are bot incarnate.
Dude, I need to get warmed up here, dude. Cause there's like a different like.
Were you not on?
What?
Were you not on before?
No. Cause like the levels and everything, and this is like a different keyboard and everything, so it's like really. Oh my goodness, dude. I can't. I'm gonna die. None of my textures are loaded in. I'm going to actually die. Oh, dude. I'm dead. And there's a kid right next to me. And I'm like, oh, don't I love this game?
Would try to snipe me.
There's a
Big
kid
prop.
on me. I can't see. I can't play this game, dude. I actually have to play on console. It's not going away, dude.
Even on the lowest settings?
Yeah. Okay, now everything's loaded in. Dude, I do not like this game. I cannot play it without like a good computer. You have to have a good computer.
It's crazy.
You wanna play?
And it's just Fortnite.
It's not even supposed to be that like high consuming. But it is. And I'm getting so many lag spikes. Oh my goodness.
Oh yeah, I'm getting them too on my end. And no one's on my internet. I don't know if it's just Fortnite
No, it's
or
not
what.
ping. It's
Ah.
okay. Yep. And now my. This is a new res. Well, better hope I can actually play the game. Never mind, I'm lagging really bad as usual.
I need help.
Oh my goodness. Holy. I physically cannot play. I can't think. That's how bad this game is. I need help.
Oh wow.
Get a shot. What? And this my teammate isn't doing it. Okay, no, I can't play this game. It is physically impossible for me to play the game.
Get on that console, boy.
I can't. That's the thing.
Oh, you
I can't
cannot?
just get on a console either. Like, I'm not allowed to move a console over. So I basically just have to play in low settings. And suffer.
That clinger, though.
It's so annoying, dude. Fortnite is taking up 100% of my GPU. What is this? Microsoft Windows.
Kill. Can you revive?
Yeah. Sorry. Taking care.
Dude, why is it taking...
Oh, I'm gonna die. I went off though. 5 kills.
You had 5 kills?
Yeah.
Oh.
Tough. Oh, he left. Now he wants to play. Now you want to play. Now you think you're good enough to play with us, huh?
What? I wasn't on earlier. I was playing Black Ops.
Do you think this has an advantage?
What?
Look how wide the screen is. Do you think that's an advantage?
It looks the same as mine.
But y'all are both
Well,
in
look
the
how
same
much
house.
more I can see. I'm gonna check this out, dude. I'm really curious as to how this is.
SEMO sounds good.
Apparently this computer has 16 gigabytes of RAM now.
John, why are you so mad at me?
I'm not mad.
You were acting mad earlier. He said the Snowfoot skin.
Thank you, Warren MLG1335, for the follow. Really appreciate it. He's just here for the giveaway. I wonder why Abdu Frodo backed up. Maybe we got mad because I didn't pick him up. I don't know.
Because he added in more.
Feels bad, man.
Sunny Spams LS.
Where are we going?
I had 10 people watching me while I was streaming.
Earlier, yeah. I told
That's
you.
not bad. And then I had 170 on Mixer.
Oh my, yeah.
Because they rated you.
Yeah. But the host
Yeah.
is pretty neat. Bad we didn't pull through. We're going off.
No, you guys didn't win that game.
No, we lost.
Yeah, we did.
We lost the
Yeah,
game
we won.
before.
Hey, you guys won.
Okay, I'm...
Okay,
about to
my
die.
textures aren't loaded.
My textures are. What a surprise. What's the first?
Hey, you're lucky. Hey, John, you good up there?
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm just tagging some people.
I'm fine under the ground right now. No, Aiden, literally.
Yeah.
Hey, John, can you come down here and make sure I'm safe? Oh, wait. I think I'm good. Oh, no, I'm dead. I'm dead.
Get thirsty, you bot.
Oh, Sunny died. And I don't have a shotgun, so I don't think I can do much. Can I get the shout?
Here he comes.
This kid pushing me.
I shouldn't see
I think I'm getting pushed. This kid is pushing me out of nowhere, dude.
Come on
I
up.
need help, Arena. Come to you, John. I'm so tired. Oh,
Ours getting on.
I lag. I can't get any guns. This kid has a shotgun start game. And I have a deagle and a suppressed pistol. What am I supposed to do?
Oh yeah, Mark's getting on. There you go. We got a winning squad, boys. Got everything we need. Everything we need. Oop. Hello. Yay. Why is he still watching stuff?
No.
Oh, James bot. What's wrong with him? Are you still in the game? There you go.
Okay, what's second? Oh, so the CPU. Task manager. Discord. I can't even end you. Wait, that was system. My goodness. Windows model.
Party failed to connect. Okay.
Hello?
Hello.
Oh, something happened.
Achoo! Achoo!
Let's get a dub, boys. This is the Dream Squad.
No, it's not.
Why is mine taking so long? It's checking for updates. Come on, Fortnite. I have a bad time, Fortnite.
What?
There you go. GG's not working or what? His chat.
Yeah, it's not working for him. He had to reset Fortnite.
Oh. Oh, he backed out. He's not even in here. Oh, okay.
He reset Fortnite.
Hmm.
Oh my goodness, dude. I can't, like...
This is Ghost Country.
How do you increase this, dude? Do you know how to increase 3D for GPU?
No clue. Mine's stock as can be. Word of the day, stock. What the f was that?
Fuck. Shit.
It's God's country. I really like that song from Blake Shelton.
Back on.
You streaming?
Not just
Cool.
You.
Only on the week? During the week.
Aww. If you're playing, you might as well stream. What's wrong with streaming while you play?
It's on during the week.
Oh my goodness. You have a better chance of being seen.
You don't tell me what to do.
I don't tell you what to do. I'm giving you advice.
So don't.
I'm
okay, well,
giving
don't-
you advice.
Don't tell me what to do.
I'm not telling you what to do. I'm giving you advice.
Oh, I don't want your crappy advice.
Who said it was crappy?
I did.
Oh. What can you do, right, Phantom?
Hmm?
What can you do?
What do you mean?
People died for us to stream.
Oh, I don't...
Hear me? Hello?
Yes,
Yes.
we hear you.
Who brought this hooligan?
Good joke.
Alright, boys, we got this.
If my quality loads, textures loading.
I'm playing with a ninja mouse. Hear me, John?
Did anyone ask?
No, but I was telling you.
Oh, well, no one wants to hear your crappy equipment.
It's
Yeah.
not crappy. Everyone uses it.
Who's everyone?
Seafood,
What?
Ninja, Summit.
What? What are you talking about?
I can't load the game.
It's because you're in a different tab. It doesn't load in if you're in a different tab.
This is what always up.
I know, because you're always opening a different tab when you start.
Why do we keep going tilted here?
Yeah, let's go somewhere over here.
Go somewhere where we won't instantly die and that won't instantly kill my friend. And I have a black screen.
Why do you guys want to go somewhere where nobody goes? Why not salty?
Because I can't see.
He's trying to fix his game.
I have a black screen. What is this?
What is this nigger screen doing in my room?
I think my Fortnite just crashed.
No, I can still hear you.
Dude. What is this game?
He doesn't
It's
have a black
Fortnite.
screen anymore. It's a white one now.
Wow, that's racist. That is really racist, James.
Get
Wow.
mad at me when you have to purchase Mad Team batteries. Bro, I'm not even holding the button
I
down, it
crashed.
switches out. Rips that Aiden, you're still in the game though.
I know. But the game isn't.
How did he hit that? You jumped and he hit me. He's one tap. Rip you.
Some guy inside too.
Dude.
Give me a shotgun, give me a shotgun, give me a shotgun, give me a shotgun, give me a shotgun. Where's the shotgun? Show me a shotgun. Oh, no shotgun.
Turbo doesn't work anymore, guys. Don't try it.
Dude,
I really don't want to play Fortnite right now. Exactly. I was holding the button, and it just showed that you go
Ah, did it anyway.
Mark's the only one alive. Mark's the only one alive.
Gauss contrary.
Why don't you go for one of our key cards, or both?
Oh, my bad. Forgot.
Go for James Bots. He's got 18.
16.
12.
11.
10. 8.
9. 8.
The good thing is it gives you like an extra 2 seconds once it hits 0.
Really?
Yeah.
Go for
20
John Snow.
seconds
He's
on
there.
me.
18. 17. 16. 15. Oh, nobody looted you?
No. Look at that slurp.
Watch that. Watch that. Not gonna save us any loot. Somebody's getting revived already. I think.
Oh, no. I think they already did.
Don't shoot. Go and reboot us. It reboots us at the same time. Oh yeah, someone's already being revived.
I like how that guy just like slowly walked back in. He was like, nope.
Nobody saw me. It's all good. Oh!
Oh! Can you repeat it?
134,
Behind
do
you,
it
Mike,
again.
be careful.
What was that?
An arrow. That missed back.
Oh, let's do a squad, do a squad, do a squad. Didn't make you feel that.
There's one behind you. We went in the Push.
Are they
Wait.
shooting?
Wait,
It's
they're on
premature.
different teams?
No, they're premature firing.
Hmm.
Oh my god. Use a half pot. Use a half pot. Hello? Can you not
They're
hear
gonna
me?
hear him. They're gonna hear him. Oh! Still
Just
a,
use the half pot now.
that's a smart play right there.
No, just use the half pot. I mean, what's wrong with the half pot? Just, it's in your... Okay. Did you not BM that guy yet? Okay.
They probably picked up their buddy.
You can go pick up us now.
Oh. No, he can't. No, he can't. You're right. It's in front of me. You're right. In front of me. Oh, there's one to your left now. So, oh, right in front of you. Right in front of me.
He's behind you.
Right left. Oh, he just passed by you. Right there. Get him. Oh!
And BM.
He's just spraying. That's funny. Get him, Mark. To your left.
Oh.
Oh, see, they did pick everybody. Dude, how's that guy alive? Dude, they're jumping. Chopping. There's one more. Oh! Squad wipe.
Squad wipe. Moonlight. Sorry. Never mind.
That was a
Wait,
beautiful poem.
Nobody heard that. Sorry.
Get outplayed, outclassed.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, that was pretty bad. That's me. He's kidding.
I enjoyed that. I enjoyed watching it.
This is my first time getting revived ever. Am I not gonna get revived? I'm alive, John. Are you alive?
Oh, there's a couple bunkers.
Thank you for the follow. Chewy bit. Oh, you're just here for the giveaway. Get all disappointed, man.
Does anybody have any AR? Never mind. I don't want you guys to say, you're being so greedy.
No one's saying anything.
Can I have some shotgun ammo? Question mark.
Oh my god, dude.
Throw some on me.
Thank you for being a good teammate. And there you go, taking my ammo crate. Sorry. Should we go zone?
Remember this
That's
kid.
Hondo.
You need me more than I need you.
Who? Wait, what are you talking about?
Oh, I'm just talking.
I don't like all this. Okay.
You gotta get off?
Who, me?
Yeah.
No, why'd you say that?
Oh. How come your brother can't stream? Why is his dad won't let him?
I don't know.
Stop.
You're asking me. Not my dad.
Dang. Dang.
Oh, his dad's not letting him.
Nah.
His dad's not letting him stream.
Nah. I mean, I get it. You're young. You might say something dumb, and then it's gonna follow you the rest of your life. But hey, if you own your own business, you can do what you want, say what you want.
Yeah, John. I mean, Mark.
Mark.
What'd you say earlier about that black screen?
Oh, yeah. Forgot about that.
Oh, yeah. I'm at 99 health, guys. Love that.
99 health and I just ain't one.
That's just great you said that. And we were just talking about Stan Soup stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And
We were.
He just,
And he just took it out. He hit a home run past left field. He did it. He took care of our business. Go on there. Get in
you
there.
just
up there.
combined like
Up
two
there.
sports.
Up there. Oh.
You just combined like you said home run,
Uh-huh.
then a pass, and then touchdown.
What?
Ooh. You just said there was a home run, pass
Mhm.
to the left,
Left field.
touchdown.
Yes. No, left field.
I know, but then you said touchdown.
Keep moving, boys. Don't get involved in. Oh man, we gotta go. Don't get involved in that fight.
Wait, we gotta go where? Oh, yeah, we gotta go.
We gotta go, Gambit.
I am injured. John, you see why I marked?
Yes.
Purple pump for you.
Where?
I just marked it.
Oh, you took it off.
Wait, what? What are you talking about?
Oh. Why didn't it show?
I marked a purple pump for you.
Dang it, dude. It's so far away. So far away.
Did you hear me?
Oh, 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 oh. Nah.
What? What happened?
What
He
happened?
said far away. I said my dad.
Like your dad?
Why? Cause he's black.
No, if he was black, he'd be over the border, bro. He'd run so fast. Oh, I'm crouching. That's why I was going so slow. I was moving like John for a second.
Is there guys over there?
Over where? Underwear, sorry.
No geyser? I thought there was a geyser somewhere.
Not
Where?
over here.
Oh. Hey, that sucks. We're gonna eat Storm. Storm's gonna eat us.
Let's start walking this way.
Which way?
Yeah, John, start walking this way.
Okay.
I see. We're gonna outrun Storm. Fuck. Man, you really missed Fortnite, didn't you? Going psycho. The hell? You snort? You dork? Get off of that.
Oh, I hear
Gonna
you.
grab a half pot. Oh man, he went up on the hill. Uh oh.
Yeah, I'm getting shot at.
Oh, there's someone on the
There's two on the hill. And they're fighting. Leave them alone.
Leave him alone?
Leave them alone. Yeah.
Leave me alone.
Oh, there's a guy on me.
Oh, attack him! Attack, John.
God, I don't know how to miss those.
Take me to the hospital. John, can you please take me to the hospital?
Oh. Where you at, Mark? Oh.
Wait, we're going to Mark?
Yeah.
Mark's in a dangerous spot.
What's that? On top of the hill.
I know.
Then why did we come over here? They're on top of the hill.
Okay, we're blocking me in.
'Cause we're in a scrim lobby.
We are?
Yeah. You know how to do it, boys.
Players!
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I love clingers, yeah. We're not in a scrim lobby, by the way.
I haven't almost no.
Nice work, right?
Yep.
Thank
His
you.
buddy's pissed.
Yes, he is.
You knocked one of them?
Yeah, I beamed
Yeah.
one of them, too.
Oh, I got a chug jug for you.
One more guy up there.
I know, I got full shield and stuff. I'm
Oh,
good.
okay.
So scared. Wait, somebody's around me. Yes.
Ooh, hit him.
Oh, he jumped my bullet.
He jumped your bow, you mean?
He jumped my bow.
You nerd.
Oh, shit.
Watch out.
Like. Go down.
Show for show. You got him, Mark?
No, he's in there. Got him.
Nice.
You got the chug.
Okay, these
I'm
mini.
drinking it. I'm drinking it.
What do I give up? What do I give up? Okay, I gotta go. Oh, there's a guy down there.
Go, go, go. John, I got you a half pot. Oh, there's a guy right there.
I don't even know how that missed. Sorry, I had to build.
He scared me. You're peeking at me, by the way.
I hit those.
Gosh.
What is you really talking to?
Nobody.
Oh, oh,
Somebody's
Dave?
pulling up. zone pulling up on my block, bro. I'm so scared.
Oh.
Guys, we gotta win this. Aiden's gonna be mad if we win this. Cause he had to go.
Why?
Cause he won't get the
The guy's using the cozy.
Throwing clingers. Cling
He's
the
hurt.
tree.
He's hurt. He's hurt. He's hurt. I can
He's not.
feel him hurt.
He's not the cozy anymore.
He ran
sorry.
away. He's still running.
Where?
He's
He must be really.
They're back here.
still behind the mountain.
Oh! Broke his shield. Broke his shield.
Yeah.
John, you took a bullet. This guy.
Did I? My head, right? I took a bullet. Let me fix my stuff.
Now
Okay,
they
cool.
need to take a.
Oh, there's two of them?
Yeah. Where are they? Where are they?
They ran away.
Anyway,
Y'all got
I
any
think-
meds or no?
cabin. I got a half bot. I got a half bot.
I have a mini.
Yeah, hold it.
Here. I have a mini.
Hold it.
Here, there's a mini.
So you want?
Yeah, give me the half block. Give me the half block now.
Does anybody need any rockets? I got them.
No, I don't need a rocket.
Oh yeah, this is a mini scrim. Scared.
I was born scared.
Who's that in the back? What do you mean?
That's his daddy.
Yeah.
He's looking at his son's computer and going, "Are you streaming, boy? Even though I told you
Really?
not to." No, daddy. Swear I'm not.
Are you streaming Fire Chi-Chi?
No. I want to get beat.
You don't want to get beat. I want to get beat with a horse whip. Nah, that guy's good at running away. You know that?
Going.
Shoot that guy. He's probably just camping this hut. John, camping this hut with me.
Camp in the hut. Get in the hut. Get in the hut. 1, 2.
Farm, John.
How much ammo do I have for the AR?
300.
Oh, can you drop them?
Oh, I need some. Oh yeah, come in here. Come in my little bathroom.
You just said you got 300.
Yeah. No, I need 300.
Oh,
Nobody
Joke.
to our left. We're okay. Nobody to our left. We're okay. No bogeys.
No bogeys in the mountain yet. These country folks over here.
Man.
Bogeys. No.
Oh, he's got to
no.
move in because of storm.
What's that?
Oh, watch your heads. Lower your noggins.
Where's he
oh,
at?
we gotta go all the way over there. You got launch pad or anything, guys?
Nope.
Nope,
I
I gotta
got my
drop.
2 legs.
Y'all got a what?
My 2 legs. My traps are big.
Watch out, 240, 240.
Shit, wait,
I'm
he's
a-
40.
Oh, I'm going towards circle.
I thought we were
Attaboy.
doing that already.
Move, move, move.
No, come over here,
Move.
John.
Behind over
Sorry,
there.
sorry.
Move, move. He's not
Y'all
even
got a
looking at
damn
me.
launch.
No shield, one of those guys up top, they just spam built.
Spam
Look
belt.
what
Move, move.
Oh. Who just shot a bow at me?
All
I got a
right.
ball. Don't worry, I got a ball.
You got a
It's you, not
ball.
us.
Move, move, move. You got a ball. Go, go.
No, he has a ball, not us. We still have
I'm hanging out. He's on top of me. Oh, he came down. Oh, he's one hit. He's one hit. He's one tap. Oh, he's thirsting. I got a bogey on me. No.
He's not one tap.
Wow, Mark just fell to his death.
He was not no one tap. What? I couldn't build?
I hit him for
Did you see that,
105.
You saw that. Turbo build doesn't work, guys.
John, you saw mine?
I didn't see how you fell to your dad, but I saw you fall.
I went on the ball. How many kills did y'all have?
0.
5.
No, I think I have 1.
a lot of alerts come on when they become like 16, 17 degrees Celsius.
Because 95 is almost.
Is he ready to play?
My system has
No.
those things on
Okay.
What are they talking about?
60 Celsius.
I'm getting beat.
Getting his ass whooped for screaming in my house.
How did they find out for streaming?
Because he was streaming.
You don't like that.
You're on the risk of creating flex in the circuit boards and things like that.
What are you talking about circuit boards for?
Talking about the computer?
It's a computer. What are you talking about circuit boards for?
What'd you say?
What's he talking about circuit boards for? It's a computer. It's got a motherboard.
Hey, can you put your dad on the mic?
Can you increase your gain so we can listen to this? That's funny. You're flexing your circuit board.
Mr. Uniface. What?
Saw it.
Oh.
What up, dog?
What's up, dude?
Jazz hand too.
Jazz
I feel like getting beat.
Hey, shut up.
Yo,
Shut
feel
up.
like getting
I'm
beat,
trying-
boy?
There was a
Then
visual
stream.
glitch just now. The river looked like it was dried up.
He'd get a lot
Oh yeah,
of
it
views.
always does that.
What are you talking about?
He'd get a lot of views if he was streaming and dad just came in.
I was
I didn't want you to do
freaking
that, boy. Boom, boom. I'd watch it.
Oh my god.
And then he gets pregnant.
What incarnation?
I don't want you streaming, boy.
Oh,
That's all you hear from the back.
What are you talking about?
I don't know what he's talking about, but it's
This
being
guy-
weird real
Mr.
quick.
Uniface is like, I just want to get me over.
Oh, really? Oh, no. Don't
Oh,
you
this ain't
do
gonna be good.
it. Don't
Hey,
you
blow
do
Johnny
it.
boy.
He's one hit, one tapper.
So I can get He wasn't
Oh,
taking
this
this.
guy's a one hit. He's picking up his buddy. Come, Mr. Fish. He's a
I have a
one hit.
weapon.
You
Mr.
can
Fish.
pickaxe him.
Mr. Fish, save
I
me.
can pickaxe him.
Yeah, we out here.
I can pickaxe him. Really?
Fucking dude.
Oh. Trying to figure out.
That was the wrong
Where's he
guy,
at?
but yeah.
It really was.
Oh,
We're giving
Where
him 5 for effort.
oh, John, I thought we were in the right place. We're in the. Give me
What
the
are you
wrong
doing,
place.
boy?
Now,
Oh,
Hey, I got it.
Oh, behind. Watch out. Be careful.
wait, did I
Where?
just knock somebody?
Oh,
Oh,
that was
shit.
close.
I think I just knocked somebody with my trap.
I just.
Oh!
Oh, I heard it.
I just killed a few people with a grenade.
fire GG.
So how many
Wow.
people cards you about to pick up? Oh shit, brother.
You wanna be our fourth?
Hey, GG's, y'all.
You wanna be our
Later.
fourth?
Why not?
No.
Oh, you don't? You don't?
he's copying a Decron.
Y'all have a 1060 in y'all's damn thing?
Yeah, but giving him the 10, like, say me, because you have a
Wait.
1070, right?
Do you want him to be our fourth?
No. Let's get randoms.
Who has a 1070?
I do. I have a 1070, don't I?
You have a
Alright.
1080.
No. The before.
Oh, you had a 1060.
Oh, but I gave it a Jake.
Yeah.
Never mind.
How old's Jake?
9.
Oh, he's lucky.
Give him a gaming computer.
Dang, how much it cost?
1300. Oh, it's cheaper than the one I'm using.
That's
You
a
should have
lucky
just
kid.
built one in the very beginning, John.
Yeah, John. You should built one in the very beginning.
Well, I didn't know if I was gonna like this or not.
Yeah, Mark, you didn't know if you didn't like it or not.
Cause I was like, playing video games on a computer? That's weird. And then, now that I'm playing video games on computer, I'm like, wow. I should have just played video games on computers to begin with.
We should have, right?
Hey, Cancer Strike. Hello? Are they saying something in Chinese?
Sounds like it. I was trying to get a Nick 830.
Really?
Yeah, because he plays with randoms. He does random
Not random
deals.
squads, though.
But
No.
in Canada.
Oh, Oasis.
Oh, what's good, dude?
Mira, hace muy tarde.
Tu
He-
madre
he
es
thinks we're
muy
playing
bonita en mi casa. John, how do I respond to that?
Oh, God.
Where is bitch? Okay.
Oh, mi madre un bitch?
Yes.
He said
Tu abuela muy bonita en
Mi abuela es muy hermosa, cabrón.
Oh,
What are you saying? Wait, where's Cancer Strike at?
my grandma's dead, I hope you know. My grandma's dead.
He said his grandma is very beautiful, you idiot.
Oh,
That's what he told you.
oh. I didn't hear his part.
Hey, people.
Uh-huh.
Necesito ayuda.
Oh, you're
ayuda,
far away,
ayuda.
just saying.
Necesito ayuda. Eres mi padrino.
Is it
got-
duo on you?
Yeah, he needs help. He says Ayuda.
Oh, John, I didn't know you were there.
Ayuda. ¿Tiene gente?
We had those! Oh, I had to sniper the whole time.
30 seconds.
Hey, John.
Yep.
Hey, Mark. Don't watch that.
Don't BM him. Go pick me up. Okay, BM him now.
I got people shooting at me.
Okay, I'm to the right. You don't have to fight them. I'm to the right. Go to the right. I have 15 seconds. Oh
There's
my
literally
goodness.
people shooting at me.
¿Qué están haciendo? No.
Don't worry about it.
He thinks,
5
he thinks we
seconds.
know. What are you saying? 2 seconds. 1 second. 0.
0. Yay!
I didn't shoot.
One moment, one moment.
Bro, there's a full squad right in front of me, bro. I'm so scared. I need a shotgun.
Creo que hay un gay
James
mariquita.
Bob, go to my body, alright? Just go straight
Come.
over there. That guy's
Anybody
weak
over there?
He's real weak. Him for 75.
One moment.
What did he say? Do we want 1v1 him?
No, he
it's
said
a-
one moment.
Un momento.
Right there, right there.
Voy. Un momento. Aguante.
Oh,
Resista.
Hold that
Go.
for me, buddy.
Yo soy malo, pero allá
Somebody was
voy.
rebooted. He
Oh,
looks like a
tengo
wasp, right?
gente.
He's got people.
¿Lo puedo rescatar?
What'd you say?
Uh-oh.
Voy.
Look at that good teammate going for his buddy's card.
He's gonna die.
We'll see. He was the cactus.
Compañero, ¿tiene gente?
Oh!
Where'd that guy come from? Where's our teammate at?
One moment.
Yeah, one moment. He's in a ball.
Guys, leave, guys. Leave.
Hold on, one moment.
Back out.
One moment.
Back
I
out.
want to see this go through. One moment.
One moment.
Un momento.
Oh.
Oh, no.
He should have died from that.
Mark died from that.
Back out.
No, he can pick me up.
Yeah.
Back out. He's gonna look at this guy. Oh.
I believe. I don't believe anymore. Whoa.
Hey, GG.
GG's, amigo.
That was an Asian guy. Chinese.
Where's biggest baddest though?
Play, Aiden. Can you not play or something?
Once this thing is done benchmarking, we look for benchmarking.
Tell him to check his circuit boards.
Aiden, check your circuit boards. That's what John said.
I was like, what?
What was his dad telling him anyway?
You might want to check your power cord. It might get wrinkly. That might mess up your computer.
What was the word of the day again?
Circuit board.
Circuit board.
Hey, what was your dad telling him?
That if he ever streams and that mother fucking house. He's gonna beat the living out of that kid.
But how did he find out that he was streaming?
He wasn't.
Oh, he just mentioned to him. He was probably like, "Oh, Dad, I'm streaming." He's like, I don't want you
He
streaming.
said something.
He got up. He started like having flashbacks. I don't want you streaming in my house, boy.
What did you say, James Bot? James Bot, what did you say?
What?
Oh, I said, what did you say?
I'm muting this kid.
I know,
That's what I said.
Tilt it.
No. How did he find out?
He wasn't. It was a joke.
Oh.
It actually fell for that.
Yeah. I thought that was funny.
Well, why is your dad checking the circuit board?
He's licking his finger and touching it, right? He's like, yeah, it shocked me. You got power, boy. It ain't your power supply. You're like, okay. Thanks, Dad. Yeah, your dad's fine.
Your dad's a fucking hooligan. That's what he is.
Yeah, he is. Watch out, there's somebody up there.
Up where?
Up there, bro.
Even my grandpa knows this.
John, you okay?
Yeah. Took my
I just
ammo.
see you down there aiming at a kid.
He took my ammo. Oh, you right up there?
Yeah, I'm good.
You good, boy?
Right now, I am at least. You took my pallet.
I bet you not never done Steam. You better not never done Steam stream in my house. That's what your dad was telling me, right? Just like that.
Oh, I don't want to get sniped.
Filling up. I'm ready to go. Let's go kill some newbies.
Alright.
Oh god, I hear someone coming in.
I had to take the fall damage. Oh,
Yeah.
Come outside. Come outside. Back up. Fall back.
Oh! He hits those. You're right there. Okay, now I feel better. Now I feel a little better.
Where's
Well,
Mark
you get
at?
special treatment. Ah, now.
He's staring at me for a second. Mark, he's over there in our body. Oh, that's him.
Watch out, he got 50 health and shit. Oh, he's trying to bring his buddy back. What a noob!
He gets us.
What a noob!
Hurry up.
Oh, George,
I don't know if he's still there or not. No, he's not there.
Almost in.
That blue pump's fine. Oh, I guess that guy died.
No, nothing.
Watch out, Mark. He's there. He's one.
That's him. Wait.
Oh, this other guy's gonna stop.
Wait, why did it change us?
Alabare.
I speak Spanish.
Dude.
Why do you always come out first?
Come on, go. Get there. Go. That was mine. Okay, I got what I had.
Where'd all my ammo go? I need my ammo.
Probably Mark has it.
Hey, Mark, can you slip me some shotgun and AR ammo?
Yeah, can you give me some shotgun? I'll pick it up. I'm spamming E, dude. Oh, no! I'm spamming E, dude. I'm spamming it. Oh, yeah, I got that one.
I need some.
Oh my god.
Here you go.
He took all of it.
Here. There's some right there, you bot.
Well, you Hey guys, we're getting shot at.
We're like messing around. Try hard.
Did you see us spamming E? Whoa.
Oh, that kid just ate a bullet. Pick up.
30 shield.
Oh, I got it from behind.
No shield.
On the side.
He doesn't want to be. He really.
He's up there in the window.
He really did.
For the window.
I'm so sorry, buddy.
Come over here, GNV, where it's warm. Guys, can you pick me up again? Wow, 6 kills. I was down once.
Oh. Sorry, I really don't want to miss the guy. He's so scary.
Going to Momo shop. I was down
John.
once, and then I was like moving left to right, saying no, and the guy was moving his gun up and down like yes, and then I was like no, no, and
Go
then
get John.
he said yes,
Where you
and
at?
then he left, and he left me shields. I was like no.
Alright.
I was like wow. Did you get the other
Who
guy?
has any heavy ammo? Wait, is it rebooting?
I don't want to be a superhero.
Cover me. Cover me.
Oh,
He's on me.
is Phantom Void circuit boards ready to go?
Not yet. Yeah, boy.
You're getting off soon, aren't you? 9:30.
Oh snap! Wait, my screen's black. It's all good. Wait. Black again. No, we're good.
Your circuit board.
That's circuit board.
Probably. I always love my circuit board messed up.
That's the funniest darn thing I ever dang heard.
Where's he at?
He's upstairs.
You just missed the blue SMG. Who
Oh,
has
there's someone here. There's someone here. I'm scared.
Where?
Right here on me. Can you pick up my card?
Oh, thank you.
Can you pick up my card?
Take all the loot.
I need those band-aids.
Oh, here we go. Does he have ammo?
How many times can I die and get rebooted? Or is it
I
unlimited?
gotta wait.
Heavy ammo, please.
Oh, wait,
I would appreciate.
I don't have none.
I would appreciate some heavy ammo. Griv, dude. I'll take your hoverboard too. Woohoo!
From 10 to nothing.
Somebody's not on me. Somebody's not on me.
It's crazy.
Yeah. Crazy how many times John T down to one game.
Oh yeah. I'm eating those shots, baby. I'm doing my job.
That big face? Yep, definitely. Do you like your top? that floor and you must be perfect friends.
My knees and the floor are best friends. Can't stay off them.
Up in your stomach sometimes when they BM you. Just for a second though.
Okay, it's not funny anymore, okay?
But they get it a lot, so you guys are good friends. No, bro, this isn't your half pot. No, you thought I was gonna give it to you? I'm giving it to my real name.
Yeah, I'm coming back.
Really?
Jeez, 3 times in a row. I think I set a record.
No, that's just 3 times in a row. Remember when we were playing Duos? 4 times in a row.
Hey, Mark, too.
Mark set a record.
Whoa.
Apparently Mark's proud of it.
Take it.
No.
Don't get that other pistol.
Yay, he didn't take it. Hey, anybody have shotgun ammo?
Oh, about that.
Okay, keep it then. Dang.
Oh.
No, are we? We weren't gonna give you any. Yeah, I was.
Oh, I should have revived you, right?
See, reviving people is so much work. Wait, did that guy get the kill then? Since he BM'd, then you got res. Did he get the kill?
I think so.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, you still keep your kill.
So you can get over 100 kills in a game now?
Yes. Technically.
Oh.
If you have some wall hack, you probably can.
Really?
Well, I don't have a wall hack. Is
Yeah.
his dad still looking at the circuit board?
Yeah.
My man.
Might not be working. Probably ate chocolate.
He works Monday through Sunday on them circuit boards.
Circuit board probably ain't chopping. Yeah. I figure out what's happening.
Is that your dad or is that not your dad?
No, it's not.
Somebody's.
Oh, people's
His.
ripping on me.
They're ripping on you. How do you do? Where? Oh, I heard it.
Where? Okay.
Mark gets down again.
Guys, go ahead and pick up my reboot card.
But you're down again.
Yeah.
Oh! You have a nice eye. Ooh. There's everybody else. Bro, I didn't even see you. You're getting sniped at, buddy.
And then there was one.
Where's she at?
James Bob, come pick me up.
You're right in front of me.
24. James Bob.
I hear you.
Wow, these guys are good.
You see them? They're wrapping up together.
I'm scared. I'm scared.
I'll pick up my card now. I'll pick up my card.
Oh.
That wasn't the play. That wasn't the play.
That wasn't the play.
Wow. 7 kills, boys.
Bro, I had 5 kills, bro.
You had 2.
Gotta give it to him. Gotta give it to him. He got there. You got there.
John, you just need to stop getting down.
Oh, he's ready.
Those particular circuits.
Hey, how's your circuit board?
Your circuit board back?
And because there are people who block a processor,
He doesn't have his headphones on.
and they block it out because they've just got a very
Cancer Strike tried to add me. You think I'm gonna add him? Just need Cancer his name. Gosh. This is gonna be my last match.
I know it.
I know, you just gotta show it.
Oh. That's what I'm playing with. He's still going in an in-depth conversation with him. Man,
What?
That was a tongue twister. He had
What
an
was?
in-depth conversation with him still. About his circuit board.
He doesn't have his headphones on.
Ooh. Oh.
Aiden. You're
Oh,
talking
so
to
if we
yourself.
yell, his daddy can hear us?
Yo, what's up?
Oh, never mind.
Hey, what about the circuit board?
How's that circuit board hanging out?
Oh, yeah.
Why is your
Aiden,
dad
this is our
talking to
last
you about?
match.
Apparently it is 10% better now, my graphics. So, I should be running 10% better.
So
Only-
you're able to stream?
Oh, look up something on YouTube. It says like if you have low graphics, there's something with the computer that
And like your circuit board.
it records something in your background, something like that. Like if you play games, I took it off. It helped me. I don't know what it was called. I took it off.
Fraps, like, I know Fraps records basic data, like, PowerShare, right? Something like that. Just about your CPU and process.
I don't know. I just know about the hardware, and all I know is about them circuit boards. That's it.
Those damn circuit boards, they get everyone.
Gotta look and see if they shock you.
That's right.
John, why you laying with me?
That's what my mama done say.
Oh, damn fucking circuit board.
John, aren't you streaming right now?
I am. But no one's watching, so it doesn't matter.
Why you ever does?
170 people do on Mixer.
What?
170 people.
Hey, so you can't stream anymore, Phantom?
I can't this week.
Oh, why not?
Cause I'm not allowed to.
Oh, okay.
Cause he's
Of course it's gonna shoot.
That's what he said. If you couldn't hear him.
Fix your internet, mom and dad. Right? That's what you're yelling at him.
Got him.
Oh.
Dude, that kid was so annoying.
Yeah, he was
He's
so
scared.
cool.
Oh, you can see your other.
From what? Oh, wait,
Don't
just keep building,
die,
just
Mark.
keep building on him. I got him. He might get bait. Oh, tap. He's one tap. No shield.
Out of the way,
Get him,
dude.
get him. Get him, cowboy.
I think he moved into the cornfield.
Hold on.
He's
I
one
want to
tap.
make sure I get my kill, Dad. I did.
Get me. Get me. Oh, that's you. Oh,
I'm coming.
John.
There's one more. There's one more. Be quiet. Be quiet. Be quiet.
He's going for the BM, John.
On my way.
Need some assistance.
Got
I need a
him,
res.
got him, I got him.
I need a res, John.
Hold on.
He did go
need a
for
res.
this. He did go for
Res.
this. Oh my god, stop moving.
Hey, y'all got any band-aids?
There's 2 treasure maps and 1 me. Somebody else take that. Use
I'll
this.
grab
Treasure map.
The greedy one already took it, Aiden.
The greedy one?
James,
greedy
you're the
one.
greedy one. I don't want to hear
Aiden,
it.
I was on all fours. What can I be greedy about? Talk
You're
Yeah.
always
around.
greedy, dude.
Do you not see my health? It's at 5. Oh, band-aid.
You not see mine? It's at 95.
Mine's at 69.
Mine's at 70 plus.
I don't know. I didn't check my circuit board. I think it's on 75.
There might be another kid. I don't know. The kid me and John, or
Hopefully.
not John. Me
I
and
mean, those guys got. Well, no. That guy didn't get knocked, dude.
me and Mark were chasing this one kid.
Why were you chasing the kid? You should have killed him.
Going
What
for
were
a
you trying
treasure
to do?
map.
Pickaxe him?
No.
Something
he
like
like
that.
dipped into the cornfield.
Then why'd you try to chase him? You could have just made your bullets chase him.
Dreaming about it. Baby, just talk. Oh, there's a fireplace.
Okay.
Don't start it yet. Don't start it yet.
I just picked up another fireplace.
Okay, well I'll go. Let's go ahead. Wait for the fire. Wait to start it because I'm not near.
Aiden, the zone's gonna pull us in.
I'm holding
I'm
it down.
That's your name. That's your name, alright.
I'm not liking as bad.
Well, then you can answer now.
What?
Why doesn't your dad help James Bob's computer?
Because he doesn't have the issues for some reason.
Yeah, I do.
You're
Not right
running
now.
like 100. You're running almost like.
Because I'm
basically
looking
70
up at
frames.
nothing, Aiden.
I'm at 200
Okay, I'm about to do
frames.
the same thing as you.
feet.
How many frames?
It's over
You're getting,
here?
like 100. Look at me, James.
Aiden, I said up in the sky.
What's your 3D res?
57.
Okay, that's alright. The 57. Alright. Okay, looking dead at this wall. Highest frames.
Started the
Mark two.
fireplace.
What'd you say? We're running computers. It's a different internet. It's a different internet, though. Really, we're on different internet.
Are you
This isn't Cell Tower
hardwired?
2. I don't know what it is, but it's not Cell Tower 2.
I need mini ammo.
Are y'all hardwired or y'all using
I
Wi-Fi?
found mini ammo.
Hey.
We're Ethernet.
James Bob, there's a scar on me.
Early.
Gold
Yeah.
scar.
Ain't part. Ain't packet loss. Tell you that much.
5
I
minis
need
on
one
me.
of those. I need one of those. I need one of those. I need one of those. Why didn't you take one?
Because I'm at 75.
Oh, I just got my kid.
Oh, you're not fired, GG.
Where?
I don't know, I just heard the bullet hit my ramp and I dipped. Somebody's on top of the mountain.
What mountain?
Coming on
I
top of the
know.
mountain where we come.
You saw it come from that direction?
No, I just heard it.
Oh, I got shot at.
I told you. Southeast. East,
Oh
south.
yeah, they're literally behind us.
He's in the
I-
fork and stuff.
I've done
That
pooped my
makes
Speak
pants.
sense.
English. English, my boy.
I'm going for a treasure chest. Sorry guys. Hope you guys don't die.
52 shield.
Y'all got this.
36. This kid that has no shield.
Hey, Johnny, where's you?
Right there.
Hey, John, I'll come with you.
Okay.
I don't feel safe.
I need, dude, I'm running out of ammo.
See, there we
Wait,
go.
is there kids on John?
No. He
There's a
just came
treasure
over here
chest.
because he wants treasure chest.
Dude, I'm like really low on ammo and everything.
In your ways, boys.
I like how everyone's giving James the stuff, dude.
Well, he didn't need it. He didn't say anything. I just took it.
I didn't give it to him. He just came over here.
Yeah. He just wants stuff. He's complaining. He wants you guys to give him stuff now. Next thing he's gonna ask, can I want to give away for free?
What?
There are people that come in and go, "Hey, can you just give me the money?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm just gonna give you the money."
Yeah.
Totally, dude.
OMG.
Why is he building in storm?
Who knows? 26 blue. Can't really see him.
36 blue, 36 knock.
He didn't stop cheating.
Wall hacks.
Full
There's
killed?
still one more? Nice. Oh yeah,
Technically,
there's
it is
still
wall hacks. 36.
There's 2 more. If you look on
I need AR
Aiden's.
armor, dude.
I don't have none.
I ain't done got myself a lot.
How much do you have?
300.
Cause they're gonna die.
300.
Yeah, dude, can you just snap or something? Like,
Mark, let's go get the balls
Thank
before they do.
oh wow, thank you.
Okay.
Oh my, thank you,
I think that's half.
my lord and savior.
No, 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 no.
My
Don't
Lord
say
and Savior,
that. Don't say
Dom.
that. Don't say that.
Why?
Because our religion does not allow us to be gods.
Oh, okay.
But we can be saints.
That's my bad.
God.
Dude, this is like not hitting him.
You think he... Hey guys, we gotta take the can. Oh my god. What?
Now they're gonna hang out in the dang cavern.
Cavern.
Where are they
Dude,
at?
this, man.
I don't know. Guys, we got a can in the zone.
Yeah.
There's no more balls.
Okay, let's
Is
do
there
it.
actually not?
Good luck, Mark.
took it.
Godspeed. Cause Mark's
Gonna go pee.
dreaming about.
Alright, I'm moving the zone. Or, I'm gonna go ahead and chill right here real quick.
24
Let's see if
shield
I
on that guy. He's still trying to rotate. Feel bad for him, man. I won't leave him alone. Look at him. Look at him struggling.
If
Look
I
at
can
him
hit a shot,
struggling.
He's chilling.
Oh! I almost broke my cane. Alright, you do the cannonball, boys. He's gonna die to stomp.
Dude, I cannot hit a shot. 36 blue.
Wait, what are you doing?
35 blue. He's hiding behind that tree.
I'm too low back to chair.
I want to put in the cannonball.
He's flint knocked.
Why did you shoot me? Oh my goodness.
Thanks, dude.
Stupid.
James shot me in the wrong, like the third worst boy, dude.
I just glided a zone. There's people on Mark.
Okay, I'm going the wrong way, but it's okay. I got myself done darn.
Kids and Salty just
No,
used
I
the
actually was
reboot
too,
ban.
so it's not fun.
Oh,
It stinks.
two
now.
people are on Mark.
There's two people on me? No,
One-
actually three.
One's a ball.
Oh, one's still shooting.
Just keep doing what
Somebody's
you're
on
doing.
me.
Keep doing what you're doing.
But what's happening over there?
That one.
Can't
Oh
see.
my god.
He's gonna go
Dude.
for the full kill.
I see you. Yeah, behind you, Mark.
You guys got this.
You're right. We do.
Alright.
Where's he at?
He's behind you, James.
Oh,
Alright,
shield.
the rest of
Chug
them-
Jug for Aiden. Or Mark. Whoever wants it.
Dude.
Who's rezzing?
I got 80. Oh, cover me, 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 cover me. Somebody. Somebody.
I'm on my way.
Here's versus
Somebody, he's got an RPG. Yeah, but they're not
John,
even.
I got you. I got you. I got you. Keep
Okay,
keep rezzing.
I got it. They weren't covering.
Yes, I am. I had to run. Give him an RPG. He has an RPG.
Dude, just stick it, dude.
Stuck
He's
it.
on top of you guys.
Oh my god.
Guys, let's just dip.
Oh my goodness.
Knocked
I
one.
tried.
Somebody has a balloon.
Got another one.
I'm calling the zone.
Crowder zone, crowder zone.
Dude, I'm
if you
gonna be
can.
able to pop this tamp. I'm gonna be able to pop this tamp.
Oh.
John, I'm here.
Y'all come get me. Y'all come get me.
Where y'all at?
I'll turn it on.
John, let him
Get
come
him,
to
get
the
him, get him,
You're
get him,
gonna
get him.
die in there.
Hold it.
Trust
Oh
me.
my god.
Stick it, grab him. I
I
got
don't
a.
think we're.
Mark's
I
dead.
have a launch pad. Or not a launch pad.
Oh, he
No,
kills
I'm
him,
not dead.
Enzo. Oh god, I'm gonna die. I feel it, I feel it, I feel it.
Oh my goodness.
I have a fireplace. There's still someone here.
What? How does he know exactly where I'm
scared, I'm scared, I'm scared.
Full kill as well, dude.
John, plays cozy,
He really
plays
learned his
cozy.
RPG in way less than
John, come in here. John, are you gonna
just
come in
spamming
here and
his
play
RPG.
cozy? John, I just made a hole for you.
Sorry,
John,
trying
why
to
don't
get
you
it.
give James the chug?
Nope. I'll give him this.
Wow. John, please.
No, why would you give it to him?
What a waste.
Build, just build, build,
I
build,
know.
build,
I'm
build.
building. I'm building. I'm building. I'm building. I'm building. I'm sticking it. I'm sticking it.
Oh, build the wall.
Okay, I'm not
Build the
building
wall,
anymore.
Build the wall.
James is gonna get killed, right? Like,
Right.
can you grab my, grab the...
Oh god.
John, go grab my reboot card. John, go grab it. It's outside the zone, but go grab it.
I did. John, I got a dip.
Later. This guy has no shield. Hit me up. Stick it. Stick it. Stick it.
Hey, James Bob, stick it. Hurry up, James Bob. Oh my gosh. You just die like that?
Yeah.
Like 20 kids.
He wasn't gonna give me the chug.
I gave you the chug.
You weren't though.
That was. I have to do it for comedic effect.
Fuck.
I wish I
Oh,
was.
there's a reboot. A
Wow, I
reboot
have 4
fan.
kills. I'm going off.
You stole all mine.
I'm going off.
Oh, John, me and you are carrying James.
It happens. Actually, it happens a lot.
James Bond got carried last game too. I had 7.
Yeah. It's turning into a joke.
James,
at
what
this point.
happened?
Yeah, James
What
Bond.
happened? You used to be carrying every day.
Yep.
Until John just ate too much.
That doesn't make sense. Like,
Yeah.
Exactly.
What does that have to do with me?
He weighs
but-
too much. I can't carry John that
James,
much.
just stick the bang.
Aiden, I'll die.
No, you won't. You have a slurp going on.
Yeah, Aiden, it's a 2-tick. Or it's already a 2-tick right now. It's gonna be a 5.
You already would have been out of the Damn.
You got this. I believe in you.
Thank you. Oh, there's
I
one
muted
more.
him, guys. I
It's
don't
a
believe in him.
1v5, James. God.
And one just died.
Yep, it's a 1.
Yeah, that was the guy behind you.
Yep, it's a 1v3 now.
You're dead
Yeah, I
still.
saw.
1v2.
1v2, James. Let's go.
Their dad, leave you alone. Talk about the circuit boards later. You're trying to win.
1v1.
Riley, can you talk
1v1.
later? Can we talk later, Riley?
I want to hit this button.
We're 1.
John, you already did. Be quiet. Can I just play my game?
Okay,
Stop
okay,
trying.
okay. Everybody.
Everybody shut the fuck up.
Everybody.
Just shut up.
Everybody,
Don't talk,
everybody,
don't
everybody,
talk,
everybody.
guys, don't talk, guys.
Oh, he's a
There he
baller.
is. There he is. We found him. Nice, nice,
Found a
nice.
guy.
Good place. Good place.
Get in storm. Hurry up. Get in storm.
Go,
Don't
go,
wait,
go,
don't
go. Be
go
safe,
storm.
be safe, be
Go
safe,
in the
be
circle.
safe.
Get in the circle.
James, James, go circle.
Go
James,
circle.
Look at Max,
Circle.
guys. Look at my Max.
Oh my
Oh god, you're gonna get lit up.
Come on, James.
Hey, wait, those. Oh my goodness.
Those.
Oh my goodness.
Now push like
Push. Hurry up.
Push like
Push
the
like you're
biggest turd.
pregnant. He's healing. He has a campfire. I can see it.
I gotta get rid of this tree.
Jeez, you got him heal.
Oh my
Oh,
god.
he's in his
laser hit
ball.
ball. Laser that shit.
Shoot the ball, shoot the ball. There you go, hit those. He's trying to make a play. Wait, we need to get this. And we still carried him. We still carried him.
We
Who carries you guys to win?
Today I got 4 wins. I hope you don't.
I've got. I have no idea.
You got 2.
Oh yeah.
Look who got you guys to win
Get
though.
it.
So,
You
But
did.
you still got carried. You got carried.
You did get carried.
who got carried to the win? You guys were on all 4s.
That's true.
Okay. Actually, we weren't on all first.
Because I was being a good teammate. I gave the chug up.
Yeah. I don't know why you did.
They're just mad because they're getting carried.
Oh, they gotta get off, Mark.
No, we can play like one.
Oh, we can play one more.
Like one tilted game.
I
Or
got
we
stage
push
4
everything.
hybrid.
We got one more.
Guys, I got stage 4 hybrid.
Isn't that easy?
No, it just takes 300 something thousand.
I had that months ago.
John, you have like stage 1. Be quiet.
I don't even know.
Riley.
Where is it? It's purple, isn't it? No, it's not a purple. Tell him, Mom. I'm so happy now because we're winners. I've never won before. It's not always about the size of the ramp. It's how you use it. Oh, we can't hear each other. Gotta love it. Hello, testing 1 2. Oh yeah. Oh no, that's even worse. No. Oh. Whoa. Push me off.
Oh, I hear you now.
Hey, I can hear you guys.
hear
What the
y'all
heck? What happened? What happened?
I don't know. I can't hear y'all talk.
I know it's a long tap.
I know, I went to Discord. Hope thinking that y'all would be smart and go to Discord.
No, Discord doesn't work when
Be careful up top, up top, up top.
Got him.
Oh,
Top where?
oh.
I got his
Also,
cozy,
y'all-
guys. I got his cozy. Right here, right here.
Okay,
Yeah.
wait, don't pop it, don't pop it. Don't
We
pop
do
it.
better not talking to each other.
I'm trying to talk to
Aiden, come
y'all.
down here.
Hurry up,
I'm
baby.
coming.
Come on,
I'm
get your
here.
fucking fat ass down here.
Oh, is there any more bandies? Any more bandies? I need one. I need one. Come on.
Yeah.
I need a bandy.
Right there, it's
Aiden,
right there.
there.
It's right
Oh my
there.
god, damn.
I
I'm
couldn't
stuck.
see it.
I'm stuck in a build. I'm stuck. I'm okay.
Oh my
Who
god.
cares, John?
I'm better now.
I need a bandy, guys.
Oh my god.
Okay,
Kill
now
my
I...
mini. Give me my mini.
God damn, Hello Kitty.
There's a bandy. Now give me a
No,
mini.
he took...
Now give me my bandies in.
My wood. My
Aiden, I was going for it, then you said my wood, my wood.
Hey, let's
That was
rotate to
my
Loot
wood.
Lake.
Well,
Rotate to
Aiden,
Loot
do you
Lake.
know how many times I had that guy for white? I had like 3 times for white.
Why are we gonna rotate to
No,
the
the
league?
kid at the
That's
very
circle.
top, James. He had full
Oh,
shield.
never mind. Oops.
Oh, that guy? Oh, I don't know what you're talking about.
The kid at the
Oh,
very
this
top.
guy that has a hunting rifle.
Yeah, that was my kill. And the wood that fell was my
So,
wood.
no one was able to hear?
No,
I thought it was only me.
I was able to hear after it.
I couldn't.
I can hear no one.
I could hear when y'all revived
I
me.
had 5 kills.
You
Oh,
could?
yeah.
No.
Oh.
Dude, we got kills when we were.
How many kills you guys got?
I have
3.
5.
I have
One.
16.
Whatever. You wish.
Your fate. Sorry.
Rotate, boys.
Wait, where are we going? Where are we going? Where are we going?
Anywhere
English.
but here. Anywhere but here.
But cleared. What? Tilted is cleared out though. So why would we? Why would
Ma'am,
we leave our
anywhere but here.
tilted? Yes, ma'am. Respect the ma'am.
That's because the guy shot. I was following John and they shot me out.
Yeah, I know. That's why I ran
Mark
our box.
sucks. Mark has so many excuses.
But you see how we all acted as a one cohesive unit? We all ran.
Even
amok.
without bombs.
Nah.
Oh,
And I
yeah,
was-
yeah.
Look at me.
And I was just thinking in my
Oh.
head, I was
Do you
like,
like my character or something? You keep on looking at him.
I hope they're thinking of me yelling,
You look at.
build, 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 build. You know?
No, I was yelling, pick it up, pick it up.
Right.
I forgot I have gliders.
Lucky.
I think we confused each other. We need to stop talking to each other.
Stop talking to me, John. You got any meds? Something just
Nope.
happened to my health. It just glitched.
No, you took fall and just saw you, kid. Back off.
See, he's staring at my character. He likes me.
I don't.
Stop taking my tree! It had one. Wow.
I didn't even hit it.
Aiden's getting synced.
Are you?
See, he laughed.
From where?
You're just trying to act funny.
Oh my
Just
god.
being toxic.
Mm.
Toxic James.
It gets annoying after a while.
Mm-hmm.
Broken. People
Anybody-
stop breaking these trees down to 1 tab because I need some wood.
Anybody have rockets?
Yes, I have 4.
I do, but
I have 4.
I do, but I have a rocket, a gold rocket launcher.
Oh, Mark, here you go.
Wait, who needed the rockets?
Me.
Me. Okay. I'm coming, John.
I said it with my nice voice.
Hey, Mark.
What?
How many rockets do you have?
12.
How much wood do you have?
Oh,
Nothing.
hey. You don't ask the man
Oh,
that.
buddy.
You went below the belt.
Oh. Sorry.
How'd you mark a minigun from that far?
You just look at it.
And we'll
It's a
cheat.
minigun. And then, yeah. It marks it. Like this. You want to learn? I got you. It's a minigun. Whoa. A minigun popped up. Oh, somebody was just here. The respawn van.
Where is it?
It's already used. Someone was just here.
Change there's apples.
It's like a sniper. I'm eating some apples, guys. Just know.
Jinx yourself.
I'm not like John.
In what way?
I don't die from eating apples, hopefully.
I hear snipe from 105.
105.
Yeah.
Come snipe
That's
it
the
on
way I'm
back.
going. They're fighting with shotguns.
That's the way. I'm going.
That's the way. I like it.
Hey, Mark, are you gonna fight?
No.
I am.
You get it?
Act like we're not.
I don't know. Fight it.
No, don't fight without us.
Fight with us. Help him, guy.
Dude, I fell.
They went for
Oh.
42 flesh. Hey, I got new tubes, boys.
See, Aiden just take all the kills, right?
Can I get that loot, please?
See, he took all the
Oh, my bad.
Mark's still in a fight.
Because anytime I try to go get loot, it gets snagged by you.
By me, Aiden. I'm helping Mark. You're sitting there looting.
Put the guy up.
Dude, is there any better ARs? Oh, John, watch out behind you. There's a trap.
Who's GL?
John.
Where did this guy go?
Got him. You can't run from me, guys.
Jeez.
I guess your dad enjoys Fortnite. That's my kill, boys. Back up. Back up, boys. Wow. 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 There we
Look
go.
at your loot, bro.
Oh,
Look at
yeah.
your loot.
Oh,
Who
yeah.
took it? Who took it?
I took a blue pump. But
I
you
would
probably have
like
to-
a mini. I would like.
I have no minis.
Oh, look, there's
I have
stun.
gliders.
Somebody just picked up a mini.
I have gliders.
This
I would
bot
like a
just
mini
picked
as
up a
well.
mini.
Yeah, I need a mini as well.
Oh my goodness. I
We
don't
need
have
a total
any
of
shit.
3 more minis.
Oh my god. There's
Just take 'em
people
all.
coming.
Hey there.
I'll give you a mini. I'll give you a mini.
There's 5.
Okay, watch out. Oh, thank God he don't hit those. Thank God he don't hit those.
From
Where is
where?
he?
Oh
they're,
God.
east.
Don't build a wall behind you. He can hit you with the explode damage. Thanks for boxing.
Okay, stop building on top of me, whoever that is.
Exactly. Where's he at?
They're east.
Oh
He's a pirate.
Sorry. I thought I took fog damage again. Flashbacks.
There we go. Oh, y'all.
They there?
Shoot. Oh, I feel like an idiot.
What?
All damage.
Were you building a base or something?
No.
Okay, good. If you
I
built a
just
base,
fell.
I would judge.
No, I
From
just
what?
fell.
Your base?
Hey, there's still people east.
Chug Jugs for you guys. Who wants it?
Give it to John. He is the least out of all of us.
No, one of y'all take it.
Okay, I'll
Well,
take it then.
yeah.
Greedy kid.
Or is John gonna take it?
No, take it.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Alright.
He just knows he's gonna get down to it.
No.
Oh,
I
it's
just
a
said-
mini scrim. 20 people left.
Oh! You know what that means?
It's
Aiden, what
time
happened
for
to
me
you
to
wearing
ring the
scrims?
bell.
What?
You always lose when we're in scrims.
No?
Yes, we do.
We lost one.
I just got
Ooh.
sniped from behind.
You got hit?
No. Or, was that
Get
Mark?
better-
Was that you, Mark?
No.
For real?
Oh, that was on me.
It wasn't me. I have a suppress sniper.
Oh yeah, no, he's in here.
I don't have a sniper.
He's in here. He's on the bottom.
Someone's up there.
Yeah,
on
dude,
the
get onto the
outside.
scrim.
Good thing Travis here. Oh, that's zero.
I have one.
He's right
Where
here
is
on
he,
me.
John?
He's in here.
50 now shield.
What are you talking about, Aiden?
In the air. Oh, I just got sniped. The green hunting rifle.
Where's Mark?
Oh, James, kid's on.
Hey, that's what I was running for you. I was running for you.
One laser, one shield, one shield.
I think all of them. Let's shoot this guy.
Got him.
Oh, pick me up. Pick me up.
Hi.
Pick me up.
Oh, bow.
You know, y'all can pick me up instead.
Why are you
man.
crying away though?
Did y'all pick up the minis? Okay, cool.
Is there any more better ARs?
Yes, there's a purple scar.
I'm gonna need that mini.
Oh, that's not the right thing.
Wow, I can't believe there's a whole squad hiding. Like what?
Who
the-
has any trap to spare?
I have one extra.
Hey John, how many do you have?
I
Ooh,
just
don't
got
watch
sniped
out.
from behind.
Ooh, from your behind? Never mind.
You see him?
No, I was just shooting something down, see if he was in there.
Yeah.
John said they were in the building, and freaking they're all
They're
on the floor.
northwest. Wait. Can't
You guys
be.
want to shoot down the supply drop?
Yeah, go
The
ahead.
guy's sniping. Oh, the guy. Where is this kid?
I broke it. If you want to snipe him. Wow, there's a drop right next to us.
I need that slurp.
Oh,
Is that your dad talking?
No!
Who's talking?
my brother.
Your bro? Oh, your other brother. You have more than one brother?
He has like 5.
Oh, rotating with
we
you guys.
have
We gotta move, Phantom.
9.
Nobody
We
even
have
gave me.
16 kills, guys.
Let go.
I have 2.
I have
We're
7.
We're getting better.
I got
Aiden took
4.
all those kills, by the
I
way.
got 4.
No, I did not.
Aiden, some of those kills over there are mine. I had 180 in the head. Then boom.
There you go.
It doesn't matter. You always say it doesn't matter. So why are you complaining now?
In the
Keep on, like,
end,
bragging.
it doesn't even
What?
matter.
I wasn't bragging.
I have a
was just
jump pad.
saying, We're at 16 kills. Like I have 2 on my head.
Don't go in the building. Oh,
Oh,
wait,
there's somebody on the bottom. Somebody on the bottom in here.
Dude, I'm a
He went
bot.
second floor. Second floor. Second floor. Third
I'll go
floor.
Oh, knocked one.
Nice, nice,
That
nice.
was me that got one.
I knocked one
Stop.
too.
Did he actually believe?
Yeah, y'all can get my respawn card. Get my respawn
Kid
card.
went all the way
Yo,
to the
give me-
top.
Get him. Get our teammate, guys.
Is someone responding? Okay.
Yeah, we're respawning you already. Who needs rockets? I got 12.
I don't. We need
John?
to get zoned. That's what.
What?
Okay, okay. I'm coming with some good ass loot.
No, you're coming with nothing.
I have.
Sorry,
I
you
got
didn't
your
tell.
ammo. Mark, if you need some.
Okay.
There's still those
Alright.
kids on the freaking.
My supply.
I'm gonna need shotgun ammo.
Oh,
And
truck.
you got shotgun ammo? James bot? There's like, you got
There we go.
shotgun
I got you.
How was that fall damage?
That was a
What about
split.
AR?
I-
AR.
Mark, there's a truck right there.
Oh my God! Why are they
Aiden,
lighting
I
me
need
up
that
from
more.
over there?
Well, get it.
Yeah, I need that a lot more now. I just got tagged from
Good.
everywhere.
Start fighting each other. Yes.
Where's it?
Alright,
There's
guys,
minis
let's
down
get
here.
right
Minis down
here
here.
and
Minis
turtle
down here with me. Minis down here with me. Mark.
Okay, I need them.
I'm just
Go
sending
for
them.
me.
Sending them. Oh, and so.
Where's minis?
He has them all.
I need some. Thank you.
Oh God! I'm getting
Oh,
that
Mark,
up.
Here,
I have
Oh,
minis.
we have
Take
zone.
those-
We have
take those.
zone.
Use it. Use it. Use
down
the
here.
cozy. Use the cozy. I got it.
Zone here, guys. We got zone. We got zone.
I don't have the cozy.
I have it. I have it. But I can't place it.
Zone is on me. Zone is on me.
I can't place it. I
Okay.
need to go up.
Yeah, can y'all like...
No, we're fine. We're fine. We're fine. Stay down
No.
here. Stay down here.
Yeah, but
Can
I
I
need to
borrow
use the
some
cozy.
Oh.
All right, place the cozy.
No, go in zone.
Go to us, and pop the cozy.
Hey, y'all got any match?
Matt?
Yeah.
I split.
Oh, move! New tubes, move!
I'm so scared.
No!
Oh, no way! Died away! Died away! Oh God, we're gonna have to build quick.
Oh, James is done.
I'm done for, guys.
Pick up his revive card.
What is that gonna do?
Oh, there's kids sitting in the restaurant top. All
My
you
loot's
gotta
down
do
there,
is
guys. I got tons of bats. I died. Everything.
Okay.
Coconut.
Man, they
Keep
go.
going
They
first.
go quick, dude. Right? Like I'm there. I'm there.
Ah!
Oh, he's getting lit up.
I can't get in. Let me in.
Y'all come touch me. Y'all come touch me.
Go towards John. I mean, Mark. See, look
He's
at all
not
these
playing.
stolen
He is not
kills.
playing this like a scrim, dude.
Where's
Look
Mark?
at all these stolen kills Aiden
Or
has.
kind of. I'm not even stealing kills, kid. Back off.
Aiden, look at your 8 kills.
Okay. Okay. Hey there. They have 5 each.
Yeah. I have 3.
How many assists?
2.
2.
I did way more damage though.
Damage taken was the same as done.
Oh, let's 10 more.
Oh, guys, I got a launch pad for rotation.
Aiden, it's just not time.
I have one too.
From the
Did you just stare into that?
Yeah. I hate it like a champ.
You should see it in my point of view, bro.
That was funny, right?
I was watching it and it was going so slow.
I was trying to edit.
I'm about to use. Okay, come to me.
Alright, use the launch pad. Use the launch pad. Drop it.
I can't
Wait,
get
where
that.
is it?
Oh, shit.
It's a 20 tick. It's a 20 tick, guys.
Scream.
John's in spam building. He doesn't know what he's doing.
Don't laugh at me. Oh, they ripped it?
Knock them down.
John, you're gonna get killed by the...
Oh, God.
That was a 10 tick. Oh, no shield. Oh, you missed. Oh, another miss. Another steal by Steve.
Oh, he's up in the air.
That was Aiden. That was Aiden's boom bow trying to steal the kill.
I'm trying to help.
Yeah, see, stealing the kill. Kill him,
Watch
Aiden.
out, he's landing on top of you.
Aiden's gonna die to jump up.
I'm not.
Jump down.
Let's go.
Smart. How did you miss so many shots? He was a bot. John killed.
25 kills, boys.
I told you
25
anytime I miss,
kills.
I win.
And how much damage did you do?
I got 8 kills.
13.
And you had that many kills?
5 assists.
Kill check.
Yeah.
Kill check. 8
And
kills.
you had 2 assists.
6
How many kills?
baby?
I had 8.
I had 8.
5.
Get carried,
James has
James
3. James has 3.
How many assists you guys? How much damage you guys had then?
Oh no, don't let me kill. Oh,
Yeah.
geez,
Oh, view.
damage 1500.
More than you,
Damage.
Aiden.
I did 3. Okay.
Damage to players, 896.
five
I'm a
assists.
freaking
I
god,
got
dude.
6
Damage
assists.
taken,
6
496.
assists.
Aiden, 6
on my
assists. Who has
Get
more
on my
than
level.
5 kills?
I have 5 assists. That's 1 less assist plus
Accuracy 29. Let's go.
Accuracy.
My accuracy
35.
20.
I have good-ish accuracy.
Yep, well, we gotta go.
Woo! Later, boys. Good night. GG's, everybody. Thanks, everybody, for checking out the stream. I hope